additional board comments. I call on the engineer to review the status of the application.
So we provided a new letter dated July 13th. There's a few more technical comments that we'd like addressed, which we're happy to see that become a condition. So we'd ask for this letter to become a condition of any approval. And at the end of the letter, we listed out other conditions of site plan approval that we recommend. The first one is the payment of all fees. Issuance, number 2 is issuance of a will-served letter from the Hudson Water and Sewer Department. Number 3 is New York State DEC approval of sewer extension. Number 4 is the road right-of-way improvements signed off by the Hudson Department of Public Works. Number 5 is confirmation of whether the access easement between the former library and school is dissolved or retained, or whether it's retained shall be noted on the final plans. Number 6 is update the bulk zoning table to identify all existing non-conforming elements of the bulk zoning requirements. And number 7 is notes shall be added to the site plans to reference the conditional approval from New York State Office of the OHRP, which is the historical review regarding the 2 items that they had in their requirements, which was A, existing and proposed windows to be submitted for review and approval, and B, the HVAC system needs to meet the standards in terms of details and location, size, and concealment of or finish of the ductwork system and utility lines. So we just want to make sure that they get their sign off.
Does the applicant have any hardship issues here? Okay. There was one discussion, Rich, the board had a few meetings ago regarding the exterior lighting.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that had legs and whether it made its way.
They had a complete lighting plan, which we've reviewed, we had comments on,
Okay.
reviewed it, and we were happy with their
Okay.
lighting plan.
Any discussion from our lawyer about this application?
No, I think the comments laid out by the engineer here were appropriate. They could be included in the potential final action. And I believe that, can you just correct me if I'm wrong, condition number 1 was the required payment of all escrow fees. So that would be included too in any potential action. Other than that, this board should be ready to proceed to take final action on the application.
Before we move, does the applicant have any questions or comments that they would like to make? All right. So a motion from the board to approve this application is in order.
So
Given the conditions that have been outlined by our engineer. Okay, Gene?
Second.
Nathan, seconds. Linda?
Michael.
Yeah.
Spear.
Yes.
Woodhull.
Yes.
Chetsky. Vogel.
Yep.
Black. Yes.
So the motion approved and the application has been granted. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, close the public. Okay, before we deal with old business, we have 4 items that are part of our regular meeting. Do we have bills to approve tonight? No bills to approve. Approval of the minutes from June 9. Motion to approve based on the minutes that were distributed to us via email. Any amendments or edits or changes to the minutes? Right. What are you saying?
I have to give them.
It was a word.
One?
There was a.
It was a title.
Oh.
Yeah.
So a motion to approve is in order?
Second.
Everything to motion, Gene hasn't spoken.
Sorry.
Kayla, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I made the motion.
Okay, motion to approve, second?
Second.
Peter, seconds. Linda?
Michael.
Yes.
Spear. Woodhull.
Yes.
Chetsky. Vogel.
Yeah.
Yes. Black. Yes.
So we have a liaison relationship, between us and other organizations. Are there any updates or reports? Ivan?
There is. I was at the CAC meeting. There was a question. Apparently, New York State has passed this 30 by 30 thing, which is a law calling on municipalities to preserve 30% of open space and of 23rd. And they sort of had a question for us of like, whether we could consider it in terms of our findings. So I think that was like, we don't think so, unless the city does, but I said I would ask them to use it.
Without looking into it
Yeah.
prior to this question, I don't know, but I can certainly find out for you and let the board know.
So they were curious about this, and then they were sort of just curious about a variety of questions which were mounted to, would we have advice how to do that? About, they also had ideas. I think my basic feedback to them was like, we can't really take your direction, but like, you should be advocating to the council to amend the code in ways.
And just to clarify, this committee can apply an application before the board, they can submit materials for the board's consideration like any other.
Yeah, I invited them to do so. Yeah, perfect.
And I look into 30 by 30.
Okay, thank you. Mandatory training reminder, well, I can do that or you can. But we're required to do 4 hours of training a year. We're halfway through the year. Yes,
Your stuff, like she would have 1.5 hours. Nathan has 3. The rest are going.
yeah. And then I'm doing a training tomorrow with Logan with IHA. Training is tomorrow, isn't it? Oh, that's all right. Sorry. You're not. You're not. Hold on. I keep forgetting who's associated with what boards and commissions. So we're halfway through our year, so it's not about that sneak up on us. Okay.
I don't think about this.
Mhm.
Can you remind me what sorts of trip? I think I missed this.
I can say that quickly. So you're required to have 4 hours of training per year, some 6 hours together. Generally, the training has to be approved by the municipality. I'll see what exactly Hudson is approved. Most of these are approved if they're through the Department of State,
Okay.
any county resources, and there's a bunch of free trainings available online.
Municipal board trainer.
Right, in this.
Okay, so let's move on to old business. 810 Van Winkle Road is the applicant present, and would you like to make comments?
Yeah, just grab the board out of here.
And I should just state for the board's benefit, the applicant's attorney called me on this and informed me he was not able to be here.
Okay, so we were here a couple of months, I'm John Hitchcock, with ADG Engineers. We were here a couple of months ago. Our main goal a couple of months ago was just to introduce the project. Since then, we responded to the engineers, the review engineers' comments. This thing started in 2024. I think it was a completely different board at that time. And a different review engineer as well. So one of the big concerns was stormwater regulations have changed since this was approved in 2006. So we looked at it and we felt the simplest way to attack the stormwater issue would be to, redesign the entire basin to meet current standards. So the improvement would essentially address stormwater for the entire phase 2, not just the quantity control, but quality. So it's going to filter and for stormwater runoff, so the water coming off the site's going to be cleaner than it is today. Other than that, the appearance of the buildings are going to be the same as what's existing there. I know we have a round of comments that we need to address. A number of it's technical. There's a couple of major things I want to discuss. Not really major, but seeker is one of them. So we reached out to the city and not this administration, but in 2004 to get the original split, the original seeker, all that information for when it was approved. We also recently reached out to CT Man, who got it approved originally. Nobody can provide us with anything. So we had nothing other than those approved plans that we submitted. with a submission. I guess I'm looking for direction on how the board wants to address seeker, you know. I don't know if you can reaffirm it. If not, it has to be reopened. Is this a candidate for the new, you know, seeker regulations, you know, this being a type 2 action because it's residential, multifamily, on a disturbed site, access to existing infrastructure and all that. So I'm kind of looking for
I think
direction.
just to start out with, our comments were recommending to, if we could get that information, then it's a matter of the board can reaffirm it.
Right.
And just saying, yes, you're within it, but it's hard for us to do that without knowing what the past was. So I don't know if there's any way that the board or Linda can try to look through and see if we can even get the old resolution, because I think that's the easiest way. I don't know if Andrew wants to jump in on that. Like, if we can't find that, what would you recommend?
The concern, if we can't find any of this previous secret documentation, is what are we reaffirming it based on? We need some sort of basis, otherwise that could potentially be arbitrary. So we need to see what we can get from the applicant and see if we have any historic materials. If not, I think the recommendation would be to reopen seeker just due to the lack of information here. And your point is well taken about how it would be potentially subject to the new type 2 list where this would fall in under, I forget which section it is. But I think we need a determination that there's no materials for us to review.
Yeah.
And if not, then this board would have to reopen seeker, but we need to know what path we're going to go down. I think it might be too early to make a determination right now. I think some sort of last push to locate these historic documents could be appropriate. I don't know what the method would be for that, and if it's some monumental undertaking, then it would be more straightforward for the board, likely to just reopen seeker and look at it anew. So I think maybe just procedurally, while the applicant has comments to address for the next meeting, if you can provide any seeker materials to us in anticipation of that meeting, we would be in a good spot to look at it then. And if not, I think this board would be then in a good spot to reopen seeker and start that process. Of course. So this board will be in a reactive state. We'll either get some materials to look at or we'll start anew.
Any comments from the board, questions?
Worried about where Linda have to go to find these files.
And I didn't mean to start some wild figures.
It is a big percent.
So the other piece that tags on to that is that this was originally a PUD approval,
Yes.
which when that happens, it creates its own bulk regulations for the project. So that's one of our running comments is we'd like to see what those are and have you put that on the plan. So then it's consistent. So I don't know, is that available? Do we have that in?
I can't remember if there's on those approved plans or not. I hope so.
Okay, because if Linda's looking, then I think
Yeah,
that would
I
be,
need
you
to look and see.
know, what was that, the bulk standards, the bulk density? That was a lot.
The other thing I think we should discuss is the HOA. We haven't met with the HOA. The attorney agreed to meet with the HOA. We did talk to some members outside at the last meeting. I know their concern is noise, construction. So, you know, how does the board want to, you know, make a condition? And that might be approval time, but we should talk about it now. You know, construction times to limit noise. I know that the review engineer made a comment about, you know, one building at a time, which I don't see being an issue. I would maybe make the recommendation that, you know, one building fit up at a time, but by interior work has started on one building, maybe we could start, you know, working a site work on the next, you know. Because this is a, you know, a tight area here with a lot of existing residents. So, you know, trucks coming in and out of there, I can see that being a problem. We've had sites like this before. It's difficult to, you know, stage 3 of these construction at one time. So I'm looking for feedback from the board on that.
When you say one building at a time, do you mean one residence or a building, a block of three?
Yeah, three units, one. Yeah.
I know there was you mentioned the drainage as like one of the things you were
Yes.
listening on, and that was the other area of concern with the HVAC folks had, is that
Yeah, so that's being reviewed. We have some technical comments we'll address, but, I think we're headed in the right direction on that. I think it's a
And for the board's benefit, I'll just fill you on, and on the applicant's attorney spoke to me, obviously unable to be here tonight. He confirmed to me that they would look into conditions designed to satisfy the HOA and limit disruption where possible. They don't have any potential conditions yet, but something this board should be considering, such as construction hours, noise, staging, hours of operation for construction, things of that nature. And that's something the applicant's attorney representative be willing to look into and consider.
And we could propose times on the plan itself and, talk about it further at the next meeting.
Yeah, I would recommend that you give a proposal. You know, just put down what you think is going to make the HOA happy, because this board would then hear it at the public hearing. So if you can be ahead of that and
Yes.
have that worked out, then they would already know ahead of time what you're proposing to.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to comment on the first order of business tonight. I was really uncertain how to bring this topic to the board. And my hope was that we could create a threshold that was low enough that we could actually do something constructive. I see ahead of us a difficult path. It's going to be challenging. And as I said earlier, to the degree that we could reduce ambiguity and fix certain aspects of the law or the zone, the codes that prevent clarity, that helps us later on when we are engaged in this project. And it's been an ask of us to be the very best board we can be. And I appreciate what I sense was a coming together tonight around at least the simple idea, well, let's put something in writing and move on down the road. But I look to you all for guidance as we get into some of these more challenging topics, to not just think about politics, but think about what kind of discipline do we have as a board to allow us to perform at our highest and best for the community. And I think one of my objectives on some of the more complicated projects is how do we navigate to reduce the possibility for injury and damage to the community. And I think that's one of our opportunities to offer real leadership and build a stronger community. As I said, the infrastructure of constructive, mature, disciplined decision-making is such an important part of what we do. So thank you all for participating with that. And I'm sorry if I took us down a path that you didn't want to go, but I thought we got someplace with generally a single voice. So thank you. With that, a motion to adjourn is in order. Unless there are comments, let me offer the opportunity first. Any comments?
Second.
Thank you. A motion to adjourn. Adjourn.
Yes, yeah, I'm voting, yes.
So we have a second? Second. We're adjourned. Adjourned.